Our on-stage business for January is Team Insight Plus. I got the chance to sit down with the owner, Johnny, and he told us all about his company and what they have to offer.
I've recently changed exactly what the company does. I've started out as a business coach, and that's great. I love working with small companies, and I love helping small companies. But one of the things I found as I was going through that is I found a niche, and the niche is really working with them on helping them solve people problems. So it's more about communication, getting them to understand that some of the problems that they're facing really don't need to be there if we just kind of take the personal away. And so I work with assessments and help them to hire the right people, keep the good people that they have, and just eliminate conflict as much as possible. So the assessments, the way they work are really, I use a company that we use DISC assessments, and people have probably heard of those, and I run into a lot of people who say they've heard them. The big misconception with those is a lot of people think those are personality tests, and they're really not. They're just a small portion of a person's personality, so we really measure behaviors. So we administer those online, and the magic comes in with the debrief. So that's where I would sit down with the person one-on-one, or if it's a group of people, a team, and really help them understand what the assessment is telling them. So that's where the value comes in. You know, it's not they're not getting their results online and left to decipher it themselves. Just like every company I work with, I do make it a point to ask them before we start anything else, do you have a mission statement? Do you have a vision statement? And do you have core values? Because I think that goes to the heart of everything we do in business. The vision statement is the vision of Team Insight Plus is to educate and equip businesses with the knowledge and processes to hire, retain, and reward their most valuable asset, their people. Our mission statement is to help business owners and corporate executives maximize efficiency and effectiveness by building better teams and stronger leaders. And the core values we use every day in doing this are integrity, synergy, productivity, knowledge, flexibility, and customer service. So we keep that at the heart of everything we do. Everyone is different, so I don't go into any business relationship with a canned program. It really is individualized per business. So for me, I guess the success of that would be that they're getting out of it what they anticipated. Now, today, in what I'm doing with the assessments, it's a little bit easier to measure that. So if I walk into a company that is, experiencing a lot of, stress with their employees, or a lot of conflict, or they have that revolving door syndrome where people are coming and going, they can't keep positions filled, obviously the measure of success is that goes away. The nice thing about using the assessments and the processes that we have is it can go away very quickly. It's something that can be fixed probably faster than anything I've seen, and is the results are just I guess the quantitative things that they see are fast. I'm trying to think of a better way to put it, but I can't. It really is something that will turn around very fast. Productivity will go through the roof, attitudes will change, and they'll see drastic changes. A lot of times people are so worried about skills, and skills are pretty easy to define, and they're pretty easy to see if someone has the skills you want or not. Behaviors are a whole other thing, and a lot of times we don't hire for behaviors. So we find out after the person is hired that they weren't a good fit behaviorally. So if we cut that off at the pass in the beginning, we then make better hiring decisions. So that's first and foremost, is we stop the bleeding and we hire better people to start with. Now, we have people we have to deal with that are already employed, and it doesn't mean that people are bad. It may mean they're in a bad position or a wrong position. So we go through the assessment phase and we look at the positions they're in, and we say, if this particular position isn't the best fit for them, maybe this one is. So it could mean moving people around to different positions to where they're more suited and they can be more productive. I'll give you a perfect example of that. A lot of the tension, a lot of the stress we experience at work comes because we're not communicating effectively. So what I try and do is arm supervisors and managers with the information they need so they can better communicate with their employees. So a great example of that is I actually worked at a place where we did this and with all of our employees, and it was interesting where a lot of times we do things to please ourselves and we think we're actually pleasing the other person and we're not. So this example is a gentleman was celebrating his 10-year anniversary, and I had his 10-year plaque and a nice gift certificate, and I decided to surprise him. He was teaching a class. When I walked into the class, he immediately looked at me, asked me what I wanted, and I said, well, I'm here to present you with your 10-year anniversary certificate and plaque. And as I was talking about how great he was and how good he was doing, he was leaving the room. He left, he walked out. So I looked at the class and I said, what did I do wrong? And they said, I don't know. Well, come to find out, his behavioral style, when we looked at his assessment, we really got a better understanding of who he was, hates public recognition. So if I had known that, I would have known to give it to him in private and not say it in front of the class. Everyone knows what the golden rule is, and basically the golden rule says treat others as you would want to be treated. And that's great. I prescribe to a different one, a different rule. I call it the platinum rule, which really says to treat others as they want to be treated. And once you do that, that really changes the way you can effectively communicate with people and how they accept what you're saying to them. It's very easy to get started. So the assessment itself, I would send that to a person through email. They would get a link, and it would take maybe 15, 30 minutes tops. If it's taken any more than that, then people are putting too much thought into it, right? So 15 to 30 minutes, they're done. I get the results. Once I get the results, I prepare a debrief. And then that's where we would meet face to face, and I would go through the debrief with them. And again, really that is the biggest value, because they're not just getting their results and looking at it on the internet and trying to interpret it themselves. I will sit down with them and go through page by page and show them exactly how it is. They can interpret it into what's going on in their world today. Okay, and one thing I do is, especially people who have never been exposed to this before, but even people who have been, but maybe didn't get a real debrief and don't really see the value in it, I would love to offer them a free assessment and a debrief, just so they can see how it really should be and what they should be getting out of it. Because I think they were shortchanged if they did a assessment and they didn't get any value out of it. So that's where the debrief part comes in. So I would gladly offer that.
I could sit and talk to Johnny all day long about what it is that he does. Behavior analysis is so interesting. So if you're interested in getting your free assessment, take advantage of that and call him or email him today.